How to never get friend zoned again. Today you'll learn how to create a man-to-woman connection on a date with a woman so that you can avoid getting texts like, I didn't feel the spark, I didn't really feel the connection, or, we're better off as friends. You have to understand that the same woman can either feel totally attracted to you or simply view you as a friend, purely depending on the choice of your words. So, the first thing we're going to look at is mindset, intent, and energy. You have to want her. You have to allow yourself to be okay with desire, but under no circumstances can you feel neediness. The second she feels that you need her, that you need the date to go well, it's done. You might as well pack your shit and go home. But she also has to feel that you want her. And a lot of men, they communicate so friendly. I'm not talking about kind and positive, but they communicate so friendly, so non-romantic, that obviously they're gonna be viewed by her as merely a friend. So what I would recommend is that you allow yourself from an energetic point of view to feel desire. Not in a creepy and weird way, but purely allowing yourself to enjoy the sensation of desire. Not needing, but wanting. And it's also okay to express intent, by the way. Because if you've grown up in the Western world, the US or Europe, most likely you've heard the word creepy a lot. What does that even mean? Well, the only thing that's creepy is not accepting and on being socially uncalibrated. If you're a man who's respectful, if you're somebody who genuinely cares about respecting her boundaries, wanting her to feel good, wanting a loving relationship on eye level, you don't have to worry about it. But probably you've also been told that it's not okay to express intent. And I'm here to tell you that it's perfectly okay to express intent. It is much more honest to express intent. Because what do most men do? They pretend to be friends in the beginning, and then later on, they strike like a weaselly snake when she's a little bit drunk, and then they make their move. It is much more honest to communicate your intent right from the beginning so she can self-select in or self-select out. Now, how can you create a man-to-woman connection? There's the verbal as well as the non-verbal way. Verbal, the first one, is compliments. I have a couple of very specific examples for you here. The important thing with compliments is don't over-invest. If you overdo it, it's going to destroy attraction, because no man who has options is going to totally overinvest, is going to put all of his eggs in one basket, and a manifestation thereof could be overusing compliments. Now, that being said, most men don't use compliments at all. So here's a couple of specific ones. The first one is, you have the cutest facial expressions when you're trying to explain something. I like your posture. You have bubbly energy. Do you go to the gym? Yeah. Okay, cool. So you're telling me that's not all just good genetics? Hehe. Without the weird laugh. The next one is, you have warm eyes. You dressed unusually well. Or you have great energy. Feel free to steal any of those. Now, I'm all about free-flowing, non-canned, non-prepared communication. But in the beginning, you do need structure. You need structure to be able to fall back on when you get nervous. Any famous musician or piano player in the beginning learns the chords, learns the songs, learns the structure, and then 11 years into his career, he can freestyle. Now, the good news is learning to communicate effectively with women doesn't take nearly as long as achieving mastery in the area of martial arts or playing the piano. But there is a skill component to it, so allow yourself to practice it and actually get better at it. It is not just something that you're randomly born with. Most of our parents didn't teach us that, which is okay. They did the best they could. But we still have to commit ourselves to learning the skill set. Now, what else can you do to create my life? Wasps, Jesus Christ. Anyway, free rolling, no cuts, keeping going. I can fight people. I trained martial arts for 6 years, 4 to 7 times a week. I was teaching at my university. I'm really not a UFC fighter or professional fighter by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm much more comfortable sparring human beings than little insects and little animals. Freak out. So, the next thing, misinterpretation. If she says something and you misinterpret it in a slightly sexual or intimate way, that can bring a very romantic connotation to the entire frame of the conversation. The next one is teasing. Making fun of her creates a bit more of a lighthearted and fun and relaxed attitude. Now, some people say teasing is something weird, but if you think about it, any male friend that you have, anybody that you're remotely comfortable around, you tease them. You make each other feel comfortable. Because what you have to understand ultimately is that when you tease somebody, when you tease her on a date in a respectful way without insulting her, it actually implies a pre-existing sense of a relationship. Because If there was no comfort, obviously you wouldn't tease each other. You know that in a business environment, in a formal environment, you don't tease people that you've only just met. But if you actually do it, they'll get more comfortable around you, because you have to understand whether she's comfortable around you or whether she's all stiff depends on the degree of comfort you bring to the situation. If you're all stiff and if you feel something magical has to happen for you to be able to feel comfortable around her, well, then she's going to feel a similar sense of stiffness or lack of romantic tension purely because you haven't created those emotions within you first. Next one, push-pull. Simply refers to giving a compliment and teasing. I really like your outfit, but what are those shoes? So, or another one would be, hey, I really like your hair. Is it real? Or I really like your eyes. I can see myself in them. A little bit of playful banter, and it is not the line. It's not a pickup line or some nonsense. They don't work. But push-pull does work because you make her feel good. You give a positive emotional spike and a negative emotional spike. Never a negative emotional spike in the sense of doing something that's disrespectful, or especially one thing that's important when you tease her. Never tease her for something that you can't change. But a playful banter tease, because she has learned that most men who don't have options, they're never confident enough to actually tease her. Teasing her makes you come across as unbelievably confident. You could argue that teasing isn't directly related to creating a man-to-woman connection. I just included it in here because it creates comfort, and when there's comfort and playful banter and heightened emotions, it's easier to create a man-to-woman connection with it. Now, the last one when it comes to creating a man-to-woman connection in a verbal way, and by the way, this list is not exhausted, this goes deeper than this, but the last one for today is talk about subjects that are related to dating and intimacy and romance. If you only talk about work, or if you only stay on the surface level, obviously you're only going to have surface level connections. But if you talk about dates, don't talk about your ex, but you talk about adventures you've been on, maybe adventures she's had, you will be surprised by what women are going to be willing to show you. Every woman has inside of her the princess and the troublemaker. You think, well, she's a troublemaker, you know, the H word, and she is a princess. That's not true. All women have a part inside of them that wants to be treated like a princess, and they have a part inside of them that loves adventure, that loves to be deeply in their feminine and taken away by life in a playful and loving way. And if you communicate in a way that speaks to both of those parts, you're truly going to learn to stand out in your communication. Now, the last way to create a man-to-woman connection is nonverbal, physical. And there's two things. There's eye contact, which refers to your nonverbals, and it basically just means you have to learn to hold relaxed and steady eye contact. Don't stare at her for a minute and a half without breaking tension. That's creepy as well. But can you hold relaxed and steady eye contact for 15 seconds and enjoy the tension that it creates? And then obviously there's physical touch. Now, when you're on the date, you want to be extremely slow and extremely respectful and calibrated. Basically, you can start with a fist bump. You can start with a high five. And then you're going to get one of three signals. You're going to get a positive, a neutral, or a negative. If I give her a fist bump and she pulls away slightly, as in she's not comfortable from a micro expression point of view with a fist bump, then you don't want to keep building things. And if you give her a high five and she interlocks the fingers, that is a positive signal. If it's neutral or positive, then you can slowly and gradually keep building a man-to-woman connection. But if it's a negative, under no circumstances are you going to go forward. You never want to escalate off a negative signal. Always read your signals, always be slow. But you do have to initiate, you do have to make the offer. So you build physical contact slowly and respectfully over the course of an hour and a half or two, and then you go for the kiss. The ultimate way to create a man-to-woman connection, if you want to, other than intimacy itself, is the kiss on the date. And yes, you should kiss her on the first date. The kiss is only ever an offer, and then she can decide whether or not she's going to take you up on it. But 19 out of 20 women in the West, they're not proactively going to go for it. So if you don't go for the kiss, if you don't make the offer, she won't. Put these tips into practice if you want us to help you personally find the right girlfriend, life partner, or wife. Apply for a free initial consultation call. Looking forward to speaking with you soon. Take care.